the Weaver of Starlight Dreams. In a hidden village nestled deep within the ancient, whispering forests of Scandinavia, where the fir trees touched the sky and the ground was a soft carpet of moss and fallen needles, lived Alara. She was a young woman, barely 20 winters old, with hands that moved with a dancer's grace and eyes that held the deep, reflective calm of a mountain lake. Her gift was weaving, but not in the ordinary sense. While other women of her village, Jelheim, spun wool into sturdy cloth for cloaks and tunics, Alara's loom was a place where the unseen became seen, where dreams took tangible form. Jelheim was a small, self-sufficient community, nestled so deeply in a valley that it often felt untouched by the wider world. The longhouses, built from dark, resilient timber, were roofed with thick layers of turf, blending seamlessly into the verdant landscape. Smoke curled lazily from their vents, carrying the scent of wood smoke and simmering stews into the crisp air. Life here was simple, dictated by the rhythm of the seasons, the bounty of the forest, and the generosity of the nearby fjord. Yet, beneath this practical existence, an ancient reverence for the land and its spirits hummed, a quiet undercurrent known to those with open hearts. Alara's loom stood in a secluded corner of her family's longhouse, near a small, high window that offered a sliver of the night sky. It was here, under the soft glow of a single tallow lamp, that her true work began. Her threads were spun from the finest wool, dyed with natural pigments from berries and roots, but as the sun dipped below the jagged peaks and the first stars pricked the darkening canvas, something subtle, yet profound, happened. The threads in her hands seemed to absorb the essence of the night. They shimmered with a faint, internal luminescence, catching the pale light of the moon and the ethereal glow of the aurora. Her grandmother, Old Liv, the village's wise woman and a weaver of profound skill herself, had been the first to notice Alara's unique connection. Liv's hands, gnarled with age, had guided Alara's small fingers on the loom since she was a child. The threads, child, Liv would whisper, her voice like dry leaves rustling. They are not merely spun wool. They are pathways. Pathways for the whispers of the forest, for the songs of the stars. Alara had always felt a deep kinship with the night. While others slept, she found solace and inspiration in the quiet hours, when the world seemed to hold its breath. It was then that the forest spirits, shy and elusive by day, would draw closer, their presence a gentle rustle in the leaves, a faint scent of pine and damp earth carried on the breeze. They did not speak in words, but in sensations, in feelings, in subtle shifts in the air. Alara learned to interpret these whispers, to understand their silent language. One particularly clear night, as the aurora borealis began its magnificent dance across the sky, painting the heavens in swirling hues of emerald, violet, and rose, Alara settled at her loom. The threads she had prepared that day seemed to pulse with an unusual vibrancy. As her fingers began their rhythmic dance, passing the shuttle back and forth, a new kind of whisper began to emerge. It was not from the forest spirits, nor from the familiar hum of the stars. It was deeper, older, a resonant thrumming that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the earth itself. This whisper spoke of forgotten dreams, not just of individuals, but of generations. It spoke of the quiet hopes of ancient farmers tending their fields under a long-lost sun, of the silent prayers of seafarers navigating by stars that had shifted in their courses, of the unspoken longings of mothers watching their children grow. These were the dreams that had settled into the land, absorbed by the roots of the ancient trees, carried by the underground rivers, and now, through Alara's sensitive touch, rising to the surface. She began to weave, guided by an instinct deeper than conscious thought. The tapestry grew, thread by shimmering thread. It was not a depiction of a specific event, but a landscape of emotion, a dreamscape rendered in wool and starlight. There were swirling patterns that evoked the aurora, deep blues that spoke of the silent ocean, and soft greens that hinted at the endless forests. Within these patterns, subtle forms emerged. A hand reaching out, a distant longship sailing towards a faint light, a figure gazing up at the stars with a look of profound peace. As she wove, a profound sense of calm settled over her. The rhythmic clatter of the loom, usually a distinct sound, seemed to merge with the whispers of the night, becoming a part of the vast, soothing symphony of the cosmos. Her mind cleared, her breath deepened, and she felt herself sinking into a state of meditative focus, a gentle trance where time seemed to dissolve. The next morning, the village was still waking when Alara unveiled her finished tapestry. It was smaller than her usual works, but it held an undeniable power. The threads, even in the daylight, retained a faint, ethereal shimmer. When the villagers saw it, a hush fell over them. They saw not just a beautiful weaving, but something that resonated deep within their own hearts. Old Theron, the village chieftain, a man known for his stoic practicality, ran a calloused hand over the tapestry. "It feels like a memory," he murmured, his voice uncharacteristically soft. "A memory I cannot place, yet it feels familiar." Children, usually boisterous, stood quietly before it, their eyes wide with wonder. Even the most restless among them seemed to calm in its presence. That night, when the tapestry was hung in the communal longhouse, a profound peace settled over Fjelheim. Those who gazed upon it before sleep found their minds unusually clear, their dreams unusually vivid and serene. Many reported dreams of quiet journeys, of comforting presences, of ancient wisdom whispered on the wind. The tapestry, they realized, was a conduit, a gentle lullaby woven from starlight and forgotten dreams. Alara's fame as the dream weaver spread quietly, not through boastful tales, but through the profound peace her tapestries brought. People from neighboring settlements, weary from long journeys or troubled by restless nights, would seek her out. They came not with demands, but with quiet hopes, seeking the solace her art provided. Alara never asked for payment in coin or goods. Instead, she asked for their quiet attention, for their willingness to share a moment of stillness by her loom as she worked. She learned that each person carried within them a unique tapestry of dreams and unspoken longings. As she wove, she would attune herself to their subtle energies, allowing the threads to respond, to subtly shift in color and texture, creating a piece that resonated specifically with their inner world. For a grieving mother, she wove a sky of comforting blues, threaded with the faint, shimmering light of distant stars, suggesting the peaceful journey of departed souls. For a restless warrior, she created patterns of flowing water and deep forest greens, evoking the calm of nature and the quiet strength of the land. Her process became a ritual of profound empathy. Before beginning a new piece for someone, Alara would spend a night under the open sky, listening intently to the wind, feeling the pulse of the earth, and opening herself to the whispers of the forest spirits. She would gather specific herbs known for their calming properties, valerian root, chamomile, and sprigs of juniper, and infuse them into the water she used to prepare her wool, believing that the essence of these plants would further imbue the threads with soothing energy. She also began to incorporate elements from the natural world directly into her weavings. Not just dyes, but finely ground mica for shimmer, tiny polished river stones for texture, and even delicate, dried petals from calming flowers. These additions were subtle, almost imperceptible, but Alara believed they deepened the connection between the tapestry and the earth's gentle magic. One winter, a particularly harsh season descended upon Fjelheim. The snow fell relentlessly, trapping the villagers in their homes, and the biting winds howled like hungry wolves. Fear began to creep into the hearts of the people, fear of dwindling supplies, of illness, of the endless dark. Even the sunstone in the longhouse, recently returned and a source of great comfort, seemed to struggle against the pervasive gloom. The whispers Alara heard were no longer gentle. They were tinged with anxiety, with the restless stirrings of troubled dreams. Alara felt the weight of her community's unease. She knew that a single tapestry, no matter how potent, would not be enough. She needed to weave something larger, something that could encompass the collective hopes and fears of Gelheim, something that could remind them of the enduring light even in the deepest darkness. She spoke to old Liv, her grandmother, who sat by the hearth, her ancient eyes gazing into the flames. "Grandmother," Alara said, her voice soft but firm, "the village is troubled. The winter grips us tightly. I feel their fear in the wind." Liv nodded slowly. "The darkness brings its own lessons, child. But even in the longest night, the stars still shine." "I want to weave a tapestry for the entire village," Alara explained. "One that speaks of hope and resilience. One that can calm their troubled dreams." Liv's eyes, though clouded by age, held a spark of understanding. "A grand undertaking, little weaver. It will require threads of courage and the patience of the mountains." Alara began her greatest work. She chose the largest loom in the longhouse, usually reserved for communal projects. She gathered all the wool she could find, and with the help of her mother, Thora, dyed it in the deepest blues of the winter sky, the purest whites of fresh snow, and the softest greens of the hidden moss beneath the ice. She spent hours preparing the threads, infusing them with her intentions for peace and comfort. Each night, as the aurora danced in the sky, a silent, ethereal companion to her work, Alara wove. She worked tirelessly, her fingers numb with cold, her eyes heavy with sleep, but her spirit fueled by a profound sense of purpose. She wove images of the aurora itself, its swirling patterns a reminder of the magic that still existed above them. She wove the silhouettes of ancient trees, their branches laden with snow, standing strong against the biting wind, symbolizing endurance. She wove the gentle flow of hidden streams beneath the ice, a promise of spring's return. She wove the quiet strength of the Viking horse, its breath misting in the cold, its hooves steady on the frozen ground. She wove the patient watch of the Arctic fox, its white fur blending into the snow, a symbol of resilience and adaptation. She wove the comforting glow of the sunstone, its warmth radiating from the center of the tapestry, a beacon of hope against the encroaching darkness. As she wove, she hummed ancient lullabies, the melodies her mother had sung to her as a child, and the quiet chants Solveig used during her rituals. These sounds, soft and repetitive, became part of the weaving process, infusing the threads with a deeper layer of soothing energy. The rhythmic clatter of the loom became a heartbeat, a steady, comforting pulse in the quiet longhouse. Days turned into weeks. The snow continued to fall, but within the longhouse, a new kind of warmth began to grow, emanating not just from the hearth, but from Alara's tireless dedication. Villagers would come to watch her work, sitting quietly, their anxieties momentarily forgotten as they observed her hands moving with such grace and purpose. Children would bring her small, smooth stones they had found, believing they would add their own quiet magic to the tapestry. One afternoon, as the sun, a pale disk in the winter sky, began its early descent, Alara wove the final thread. She leaned back, exhausted but deeply content, gazing at the immense tapestry that now filled a significant portion of the longhouse wall. It was a masterpiece of quiet beauty, a visual symphony of the northern winter, imbued with a profound sense of peace and enduring hope. The moment it was finished, a subtle shift occurred in the atmosphere of the longhouse. A soft, almost imperceptible warmth seemed to spread from the tapestry, a gentle hum that resonated with the sunstone's glow. The air felt lighter, the shadows less oppressive. The villagers who had gathered to watch her finish felt it too. A collective sigh, soft and profound, rippled through the hall. That night, the Winter Dream Tapestry, as it came to be known, worked its magic. The villagers slept more soundly than they had in weeks. Dreams were filled with images of light, of warmth, of gentle renewal. The howling winds outside seemed to be muffled, their harshness softened by the tapestry's comforting presence. The fear that had gripped Jelheim began to recede, replaced by a quiet sense of resilience and hope. As the winter slowly loosened its grip and the first signs of spring began to appear, the faint green of new shoots under the melting snow, the return of the migrating birds, the Winter Dream Tapestry remained a central feature of the Longhouse. Its presence served as a constant reminder of the strength they had found in unity, in patience, and in the quiet magic that Alara had woven into its very fabric. Alara continued her weaving, her reputation as the dream weaver growing beyond the immediate valley. People from distant settlements, hearing whispers of the calming tapestries, would undertake long, arduous journeys to seek her out. They came with their burdens, their restless spirits, and their unspoken dreams. Alara would listen to their quiet stories, observe the subtle emotions in their eyes, and then, guided by the whispers of the wind and the gentle glow of the stars, she would begin to weave. She learned that the threads of dreams were universal, transcending language and distance. The longing for peace, the need for comfort, the hope for renewal, these were common to all. And her tapestries, infused with the essence of the northern night and the quiet magic of her hands, offered a gentle balm to every soul. Her own life, though filled with constant work, was one of profound contentment. She found deep peace in the rhythmic motion of her loom, in the quiet hum of the threads, and in the knowledge that her art brought solace to others. She never sought fame or fortune, only the quiet satisfaction of her craft. As the years passed, Alara grew into a wise woman, much like her grandmother Liv. Her hands, though still graceful, became more weathered. Her eyes held an even deeper calm. The whispers of the wind became clearer, more nuanced, carrying not just echoes of the past, but subtle hints of the future, always gentle, always guiding. She learned to distinguish the whispers of joy from the whispers of sorrow, the murmurs of anticipation from the sighs of contentment. One day, a young girl, no older than Asta had been when she first felt the whispers, came to Alara. Her name was Freya, and her eyes held the same quiet intensity, the same deep curiosity about the unseen world. Freya watched Alara weave, her small hands mimicking the movements, her gaze fixed on the shimmering threads. Alara smiled, a gentle, knowing smile. She saw herself in the girl, reflection of her own youthful spirit and burgeoning gift. She knew that the tradition of the Dream Weaver would continue, carried forward by new hands, new hearts, new ears attuned to the whispers of the night. She began to teach Freya, just as Liv had taught her. She showed her how to prepare the wool, how to choose the dyes, how to listen to the subtle language of the wind. She taught her patience, stillness, and the profound respect for the unseen forces that shaped their world. The threads, child, Alara would whisper, her voice soft and resonant. They are not merely spun wool. They are pathways. Pathways for the whispers of the forest, for the songs of the stars, for the dreams of all who have come before us, and all who will come after. Together, they would sit by the loom, weaving under the soft glow of the tallow lamp, their hands moving in harmony with the rhythmic clatter of the shuttle. Outside, the aurora would dance, a silent, majestic backdrop to their quiet work. The wind would whisper its ancient tales, carrying forgotten dreams and cosmic peace, and Alara, the Weaver of Starlight Dreams, would continue to translate them into tangible form, lulling her people into a profound, restorative sleep, ensuring that the quiet magic of Jelheim endured through the longest nights and the harshest winters, a testament to the comforting power of shared dreams and the timeless art of creation. The village slept, cradled by the gentle hum of the loom and the ethereal glow of the woven starlight, a symphony of peace in the heart of the ancient forest. As Alara and Freya continued their quiet work, the seasons turned with their ancient rhythm. The brief, intense burst of summer brought vibrant greens to the forest and a ceaseless, soft light that stretched through the midnight sun hours. During these times, Alara would often move her smaller loom outside, setting it up near the edge of the forest where the air was cool and the sounds of nature were clearest. She found that the endless daylight, far from being restless, offered its own unique form of tranquility. The sun, though high, cast long, soft shadows, and the world seemed to hold its breath in a perpetual state of luminous calm. In these bright, quiet hours, Alara would weave tapestries that captured the essence of summer's peace. She used threads dyed with the pale gold of sun-drenched buttercups, the vibrant blue of mountain gentians, and the deep green of ancient moss. These tapestries hummed with a different kind of energy, not the deep, ancestral dreams of winter, but the gentle, unfolding hopes of the living world. They spoke of the quiet growth of berries on the bushes, the silent flight of dragonflies over still ponds, and the slow, contented grazing of the village goats in the high meadows. Those who looked upon these summer weavings felt a lightness in their spirits, a sense of gentle joy and the quiet abundance of life. Freya, with her keen young eyes and eager heart, absorbed every lesson. She learned to feel the subtle differences in the threads, to understand how each fiber, each color, carried its own unique vibration. Alara taught her to listen to the wind not just for ancient whispers, but for the immediate messages of the present moment, the coming of a gentle rain, the distant call of a lost lamb, the subtle shift in the mood of the forest. Freya's own hands, though still small, began to move with a growing confidence, her weaving reflecting a burgeoning understanding of the unseen world. The bond between Alara and Freya deepened with each passing season. They were not just teacher and apprentice, but kindred spirits, connected by their shared gift and their profound reverence for the natural world. They would often sit in companionable silence, their looms humming softly, their thoughts flowing together like the gentle currents of a hidden stream. As autumn painted the forests in fiery hues of red and gold, Alara's weaving shifted once more. The tapestries of autumn were rich with the colors of harvest, deep russets, warm oranges, and the muted browns of fallen leaves. These weavings spoke of gratitude, of the quiet satisfaction of labor, and of the gentle surrender to the earth's cycle of rest. They depicted scenes of bountiful harvests, of families gathered by crackling fires, of the silent preparations for the long winter ahead. Looking upon these tapestries brought a sense of contentment, a quiet acceptance of change, and a peaceful anticipation of rest. One particularly serene autumn evening, as the last leaves drifted silently from the trees and the air grew crisp with the promise of frost, Alara and Freya sat by the loom, working on a large tapestry commissioned by a neighboring chieftain. This chieftain, a man named Håkon, was known for his restless spirit, his mind often troubled by the demands of leadership and the anxieties of the changing world. He had heard of Alara's calming art and had sent a quiet request for a weaving that could bring him peace. Alara had chosen threads that shimmered with the deep blues of twilight, interwoven with streaks of silver that mimicked the first frost on the ground. As she worked, she focused her intentions on peace, on stillness, on the quiet strength that lay beneath the surface of all things. She wove images of ancient standing stones, their weathered forms radiating timeless calm. She wove the silhouette of a lone longship, its sails furled, resting peacefully in a sheltered harbor. She wove the steady glow of the sunstone, a beacon of enduring light. Freya, working beside her, felt the profound energy emanating from Alara's hands. She could sense the chieftain's anxieties in the subtle tension of the threads, and she watched as Alara's gentle touch seemed to smooth them away, replacing them with a quiet harmony. Freya began to hum a soft, ancient melody, a lullaby her own mother had sung, and the sound blended seamlessly with the rhythmic clatter of the loom, creating a soothing symphony that filled the longhouse. When the tapestry for Chieftain Håkon was complete, it was a masterpiece of calming artistry. It depicted a landscape of profound peace, a world where the elements were in harmony, and where even the most restless spirit could find solace. When Håkon received it, he hung it in his own great hall, and it was said that his nights became more restful, his decisions clearer, and his spirit more at peace. The whispers of his people, once filled with anxiety, began to carry murmurs of gratitude and renewed hope. As the years continued to unfold, Alara's wisdom deepened, and her connection to the unseen realms became even more profound. She could feel the subtle shifts in the earth's energy, the ancient currents that flowed beneath the land, and the silent language of the stars with an almost effortless ease. Her dreams became vivid journeys through the realms of Norse mythology, not of grand battles or heroic deeds, but of the quiet moments between the sagas, the peaceful slumber of the gods in Asgard, the gentle flow of the rivers in Vanaheim, the silent growth of the roots of Yggdrasil. She began to weave tapestries that reflected these deeper cosmic dreams. She created a weaving that depicted the gentle, rhythmic breathing of Jormungandr, the world serpent, as it encircled Midgard, its vast slumber bringing stability to the world. She wove the ethereal glow of Bifrost, the rainbow bridge, not as a path for warriors, but as a shimmering arch of light carrying dreams of peace between the realms. She even wove the quiet wisdom of Mimir's well, its still waters reflecting profound understanding and inner calm. These cosmic tapestries, though abstract in their design, resonated deeply with those who beheld them, inspiring a sense of awe, wonder, and a profound connection to the vast, harmonious universe. The reputation of Helheim grew, not as a village of warriors or traders, but as a sanctuary of peace, a place where the ancient whispers of the land and sky were heard and translated into comforting art. Travelers, weary from their journeys, would often seek out Helheim, drawn by the quiet magic that permeated the valley. They would sit by Alara's loom, or simply gaze upon her tapestries in the longhouse, and find a profound sense of rest and rejuvenation. Alara's life was a testament to the power of quiet dedication and the profound impact of art. She never left Helheim, never sought to explore the wider world, for she knew that the entire cosmos, with all its wonders and mysteries, could be found within the whispers of her own valley. Her loom was her window to the universe, her threads the medium through which she connected with the ancient rhythms of existence. As she aged, her hands grew more gnarled, but her touch remained as gentle and precise as ever. Her eyes, though now clouded with the passage of many winters, held a light that seemed to emanate from within, a reflection of the starlight and dreams she had woven into countless tapestries. She became a living legend, a quiet pillar of wisdom and serenity in Helheim. One crisp autumn evening, as the aurora danced with particular brilliance, painting the entire sky in a breathtaking display of ethereal light, Alara sat at her loom. Freya, now a young woman herself, sat beside her, her own hands moving with the practiced grace of a master weaver. They were working on a tapestry that depicted the gentle flow of the seasons, a cyclical dance of growth, rest, and renewal. Alara paused, her hands resting on the threads. She closed her eyes, and a profound sense of peace settled over her. The whispers of the wind were clearer than they had ever been, a symphony of ancient voices, of forgotten dreams, of cosmic harmonies. She felt the gentle presence of old Liv, of her mother Thora, of all the ancestors who had walked this land before her, their spirits woven into the very fabric of the earth and sky. The threads, Freya, Alara whispered, her voice barely audible, they are endless. The stories, they never cease. Freya looked at her mentor, a gentle understanding in her eyes. She saw the light in Alara's face, a soft glow that seemed to merge with the shimmering threads of the tapestry. Alara took a slow, deep breath and then, with a final, contented sigh, her spirit gently drifted away, carried by the very whispers she had spent her life listening to. She passed peacefully, seamlessly, into the vast tapestry of forgotten dreams, becoming a part of the starlight she had so lovingly woven. Freya, though saddened by the loss of her beloved mentor, felt no despair. Alara's passing was not an ending, but a continuation, a gentle transition into the cosmic fabric she had always understood so deeply. Freya took up the shuttle, her hands moving with a renewed sense of purpose. The loom hummed softly, a comforting rhythm in the quiet longhouse. The threads in her hands still shimmered with the essence of the night. Freya continued Alara's legacy, the new dream weaver of Helheim. She wove tapestries that continued to capture the quiet beauty of the northern world, the enduring spirit of her people, and the profound peace of cosmic interconnectedness. She listened to the whispers of the wind, to the songs of the stars, to the forgotten dreams of her ancestors, and translated them into tangible form, offering solace and serenity to all who sought it. The village of Helheim remained a sanctuary of peace, its longhouses nestled warmly against the ancient forest. The sunstone continued to glow in the communal hall, its warmth a constant comfort. And each night, as the aurora danced its silent ballet across the sky, the rhythmic clatter of the loom could be heard from Alara's corner of the longhouse, now guided by Freya's gentle hands, weaving new dreams into the fabric of the world, ensuring that the quiet magic of Helheim endured through the longest nights and the harshest winters, a testament to the comforting power of shared dreams and the timeless art of creation. The village slept, cradled by the gentle hum of the loom and the ethereal glow of the woven starlight, a symphony of peace in the heart of the ancient forest. The whispers of the north continued, soft and eternal, carrying tales of peace, resilience, and the endless, comforting cycle of dreams.